About 35 or so. He wore black slacks and a dark gray sweater, but the way he wore it, the outfit could have been a tuxedo. His hair was black, his eyes dark, and his face pale. He fascinated and repelled me at once. "My name is Rafe Crozier." I followed up with a second, more important question. "How did you get in?" He hesitated. "I saw the light. I was passing and thought Agnes might need something." If he knew my grandmother, how did he not know she'd passed away? And why was he strolling past in the middle of the night? "Do you live in the neighborhood?" He glanced behind me as though I might have my grandmother hidden somewhere. "Yes, but I've been out of town. Is she here?" I licked dry lips. "Maybe you should come back tomorrow." His brow creased. "You're holding her glasses, and the chain appears to be broken." The chain made a noise as my hand shook as much from grief as from fear. I wondered if I was in the middle of some elaborate dream. Maybe Gran wasn't dead, and I wasn't having a bizarre conversation with a strange man in the middle of the night, holding my grandmother's broken glasses. "Do you often visit her in the middle of the night?" A flicker of something crossed his face. Irritation? Amusement? "I suffer from insomnia. Your grandmother is also a sufferer." He smiled slightly at my obvious shock that he'd referred to her as my grandmother. "Lucy, I presume. Your grandmother often speaks of you. I've seen your photograph." Maybe she'd spoken of me to him, but I was positive my grandmother had never mentioned tall, dark, and snooty. I'd have remembered. Still, if he knew her so well, I was tempted to tell him what had happened. But I'd spent too much time in chaotic cities, warned by my parents never to talk to strangers, to unburden myself. Not at 3 a.m. when I was all alone. He'd been watching me fiddle with the broken chain. "Your grandmother can't see 2 feet in front of her without those glasses." He took a step back and deliberately relaxed his pose. "I only want to know that she's all right." "Please," I said, "come back tomorrow." He hesitated. "I'll be in meetings all day. I'll come tomorrow evening after sunset." "Whatever." He smiled at that. "Until tomorrow evening, then?" He reached into his pocket and I flinched, thinking of all the things a scary guy could pull out of his pocket, but his hand emerged holding nothing more lethal than a business card. "If you need anything, call me at this number, day or night." I reached for the card as he passed it forward, and our hands brushed. "Your hands are so cold," I said. "It's a bit of a problem I have when I'm nervous. I blab whatever I'm thinking." He drew back and flexed his fingers. "Poor circulation." He walked back to the door. "Good night." "Wait, how did you get in?" He still hadn't explained how he'd appeared inside the shop. He paused. "The door was unlocked." I'm not sure of a lot of things in life, like what a guy means when he says, "I'll call you," or whether my hair looks better long or short, but I was damned sure I'd locked that door before I went up to bed. Damned sure.